This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Bumper Radio. I am Matt Allen, along with Dave Riccio, here every single Saturday at 11 to help you with your car. Again, at Bumper to Bumper Radio, helping you, the motoring public, have a better overall car experience. If you've got questions, we've got answers, and we encourage you to get involved with the show by giving us a call at 602-277-5827, 602-277 KTAR. You can also text us at 411-923. But don't be shy. Give us a call. It's a lot of fun. And today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, we'll probably have some emails, maybe a question of the week. Dave, you going to do some fact or fiction possibly?
Maybe a little fact or fiction, undecided.
Don't know yet. I don't even know. I didn't even know what I was doing. The show started. I didn't have my headphones plugged in. I'm scrambling here, not paying attention to the clock, but... that's all right.
I didn't give him notice. I just let him get way behind.
Yeah, and in my show notes, you didn't do such a good job today, Dave. But I guess we're going to talk about the 3 different kinds of car repair and the way we broke them down. And I mean, what are they? There's, I guess you can choose your repairs sometimes, maybe, or.
Well, yeah, you're going to go to the shop, and there's going to be certain pre-prescribed repairs. Those are not secrets or something you got to be worried about. They're in your owner's manual. You can find them. And that's going to be things like oil changes and filters and a lot of inspections. If we think about a fairly new car, let's say in the first 30 or 40,000 miles, it's going to be just like oil changes and visual inspections of things like belts and brakes and that type of stuff. But it's pre-prescribed, and you can find it in your owner's manual. What we want to do is have you know what's normal and what's to be expected so that you don't buy auto repair you don't need, and then you do buy auto repair that you do need.
Yes, there's, and I think, Dave, you brought up a good point, the owner's manual. We're talking about the pre-prescribed stuff, and we talk about the owner's manual sometimes, and that's your guideline is really all that is. But, sometimes we really just need to take that owner's manual and throw it in the trash.
We do
right?
sometimes need to throw it in the trash because it's not always right.
As far as the maintenance guidelines, but those are the repairs that you can that are going to happen. They're regular service, but you brought up a newer car with 30 or 40,000 miles. That's the most important time to start taking care of this new car of yours. It's like your kids. You got to teach them from the beginning. You don't start teaching them to read when they're 14.
Most people drive their vehicle in this town, I would venture to say, 12 to 15,000 miles a year. And if you're going to get an oil change every 3 to 5,000 miles, that means you're going to be into the shop every 3 or 4 months getting your regular pre-prescribed maintenance on your vehicle. So that's maintenance, and it's pre-prescribed.
Things like your oil change.
Yeah.
Fluids, like a transmission fluid. These are things that are just maintenance items that we know are going to wear out. Now, a belt's not in there, right?
It is not in there, but there's the inspection of the belt. That's part of, when we do look at that schedule, that's part of your owner's manual or the factory recommendation. These are going to be service intervals, and you're going to go to, let's say, a 30,000-mile service. It's going to say, inspect the brakes, inspect the door hinges, inspect this, inspect that. It's going to name off all kinds of stuff that you inspect. There's not a whole lot of stuff you're actually going to need to be doing. The brakes, 30,000 miles, probably not even really due yet. But inspecting the belt is going to be one of them. But they're pre-prescribed things. As the car gets older, those pre-prescribed things get bigger because we start to talk about things like timing belts. That's done on an interval. So you don't have to wonder, why is a shop recommending me a timing belt? They're always trying to sell me something I don't need. Are they? Or is that something pre-prescribed? Now, you made the comment, hey, we should just throw out the owner's manual, because it is a guideline or a point of reference, but in some cases, our experience shows the owner's manual to be wrong. And we had an email just this last week. A gentleman had, I think, 30,000 miles on his Honda. He was into the dealer for service, and they were recommending a transmission service. Well, I know that's a fantastic idea at 30,000 miles, but the owner's manual said 50,000 miles. Who does he believe?
No, I don't think the owner's manual in that case had anything in it. that's one of those mystery cars that you never have to service the transmission. This has got a lifetime fluid, right? Well,
so sometimes the owner's manual is wrong, and that's where you're going to have to rely on a service advisor, somebody who can steer you, that has experience and knows what kind of repairs we see. You said you see repairs in your shop all the time that are a result of lack of maintenance, and it's a pattern failure on a certain type of vehicle. So let's just I'm just going to take a Volkswagen. And let's say you're having variable valve timing issues, and you guys have found that it's because of lack of maintenance. Really, if the oil was changed more often, that would do better. Or if they use the right kind of oil, it would do better. So you could recommend you start to see Volkswagen customers come through and say, hey, we've seen this happen. We're going to insist you change your oil more than, twice a year.
Right. Well, and so that's the first type of repair, Dave, that pre-prescribed stuff. You mentioned the inspection. Whenever we're doing a maintenance service, one of these 30, 40, now they're 20,000-mile services. It used to be they were very 30, 60, 90. Now we're seeing 20, 40, 80. And then in between, it was just like change the oil or check the valve or whatever. But now there's actually some larger stuff in there in those intermediate services. So we need to be looking at those. But again, during the inspection, now let's say we're talking about a car with 40, 60, 80, 90,000 miles on it. The second type of repair, we talked about 3, is the worn items, the things we're going to find. And these are the items that you need to do to prevent getting to item number 3. The third type is the breakdown. I'm broken down. I'm on a tow truck. I'm in bad shape.
So as we do the regular scheduled intervals and we're doing the inspection, so you're getting your oil change and they're inspecting the brakes and they go, ooh, brakes have only got like a millimeter or 2 left. They're paper thin. You need some brakes. So you're going to get brakes. That's not in your owner's manual and it's not scheduled. But based off inspection, it's time. And the other thing they may do is look at the wear on the belt and recommend a belt to you. We can see a belt starting to fray or starting to have issues, and if we ignore it, so I'm going to call that a preventative repair because we're going to go ahead and do the repair now before we have the breakdown repair, which is going to put us on the side of the road, and there's going to be a tow truck. So really we're talking about 3 types of repairs: preventative, pre-prescribed repair, or maintenance. And then we've got preventative repair, which are things that we found during the inspection of the vehicle that need repair. And then the last is car broke down, came in on a tow truck. And if you do 1 and 2 very well, you're never going to go to number 3. There's a couple of things on number 3 we just cannot avoid. And I'll give you the alternator scenario. You can't really. You can look at an alternator. Sometimes they'll start making some noise or hear a bearing going bad on it. Sometimes they go out just like a light bulb. So you got no warning. We can look at your car all day long, but we're not going to know when the alternator is going to go out.
I bought a brand new Chevy truck in 1998 for a service truck for the shop. 3 days, alternator went out.
Really?
Yeah, brand new. It's like a light bulb. It happens. Those fuel pump, those are some of the things you just, crankshaft sensor, some weird thing that makes you sit on the side of the road. There's certain things you just can't prevent, but
those are generally going to be electrical components. Would you not agree with that?
I would absolutely agree.
Because you can't look inside the computer and know when the computer is going to go bad.
No, but if you take care of your battery, take care of your charging system, the likelihood of some of these items lasting longer is much better. And I don't know if I brought it up last week, but I bet if you stood outside of any shop or rode along with any tow truck. Remember, I had a fairly large towing company for many years here, and if you go tow a car or ride with a tow truck driver for 1 day, if you can stand it, it's a tough business. Those tow truck drivers out there, it's hot this time of year. You're under a lot of pressure. Nobody is happy. They're happy. They're happy to see you when you get there, but they're unhappy.
You're never pulling up to a happy situation.
Exactly. But the majority of those calls that we go on, and again, here's the made-up percentages, but I would be willing to bet that more than half of those are preventable repairs. And I brought it up last week, I think, when we were, Greg and myself and Dave Denman, we were out in Orlando for some training. And talking with technicians from all over the country, start talking about, we see a lot of these, whatever that is, this BMW problem or this Nissan problem or that Toyota problem, and talking about how much of a pain this repair is or how difficult or even how it's a good job to do in your shop. But the common theme was we wouldn't be doing any of this if people would take care of their cars. So again, it's just the maintenance, and you can choose. You should have 1 and 2. You can pick when you're going to do 1 and 2.
Not number
3. You're done.
When we come back, we've got Tony and Mike in open lines at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. And we're going to give you some more advice about when the service advisor tells you need things and, hey, should I buy them, shouldn't I buy them, or should I wait? You're listening to Dave and Matt on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
We're celebrating, and for good reason. Yep, 2014 marks the 20th anniversary of Kaiko Roofing here in the Valley, and they're proud and humbled to have been trusted for all these years by you, their loyal customers. Year after year, Kaiko has over 50% of their business coming from referrals or repeat customers, and 98% of the customers continue to say they would refer Kaiko to a friend or family member. For that loyalty and trust, we all want to say thank you. Kaiko is proud to install peace of mind by using only the finest materials with their most skilled workers, all backed by the industry's best owner's pride guarantee. If the roof on your home or business is over 10 years old, call Kaiko for a free checkup and financing options, 602-944-4600, or go to KaikoRoofing.com. They're crazy about quality.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we've been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at TriCityTransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
Hi. This is Greg LaFonsi of Automotive Diagnostic Specialties. Long name, right? But we have a short, simple goal. Customer satisfaction is our number one priority, and everything else takes care of itself. Bumper to Bumper Radio approved. ADS is a family-owned and operated state-of-the-art repair facility that has an expert staff that for the second straight year has earned the coveted AAA Top Shop Award as one of the best shops in the nation. Just east of I-10 on Chandler Boulevard. Find us at automotivediagnosticspecialties.com.
Riding along in my automobile, my baby beside me at the wheel. I stole a kiss at the turn of a mile.
To Bumper Radio, I am Dave Riccio. He is Matt Allen, and we are talking about the three types of auto repair: the preventative, pre-prescribed stuff, the inspection stuff, the preventative repair, and then we've got the tow truck stuff, which is the stuff we really want to avoid. So how do you know when someone comes to you and says you need this, that, or the other? Do you buy it? Don't you buy it? What's important? What's not important? Are they just selling you something? Some people are just selling you something. I had an experience like that at the car wash. They said, "Hell, you need a fuel injector service." I was getting my wife's oil changed because I couldn't make it all the way over to Virginia
They must have
Auto.
had a company meeting that day, and they said, "Guys, we're doing fuel injection services today."
That was on the board. And so I said, "Okay, that's fantastic. Why do I need a fuel injection service?" "Well, because it's time." I said, "Time? What time?" "Well, we see you haven't done it in the last 10,000 miles, and it's due every 10,000 miles." And I thought, where do you find that 10,000-mile thing? And I asked the question. He said, "Well, that's what I was told in that meeting that morning." So fuel injection services are the coolest thing going right now. You got to have one. So how are you supposed to know? Well, I'm at a car wash that washes cars, and they're really good at it. But I'm talking to a teenager that doesn't really know much about the automobile, does not have the experience to give me advice. All he knows is what he's told, and he's told something by someone who's in the business to make money. I mean, we're all in the business to make money, but I don't know that the agenda or the motive is pure there. So sometimes we can be oversold stuff, and we're saying, okay, we've got this owner's manual. It's kind of a baseline or a point of reference, but, you know, and I would agree with this, is that fuel injection service is not in most owner's manuals. Am I wrong on that, Matt?
You will not find cleaning the fuel injectors, I don't think, in any owner's manual at all. You won't find it. Now, Hyundais and Kias, they have put in, because of all the problems that people are having with direct injection. I can get on a whole other topic. I won't go there. But if you have GDI, gasoline direct injection, you see that little acronym on the back of your car, you're going to want to be using good fuel, having fuel injector cleaning services done at a good shop, and keeping your oil changed very frequently with very good oil. But, Dave, you didn't tell the whole story. So you go in for the car wash, you wind up with an oil change. the kid's selling you fuel injection cleaning services because that's what they talked about in the monthly meeting that day. But he didn't tell you about your windshield wipers that you already knew were scraping the window. He didn't tell you there was one or two other things. The light bulbs burned out. They're just focused in on
what's on their menu,
on what they want to sell. So I that's where we always preach relationship. Get a shop, stay there, get to know them, understand the questions to ask. And if you're in that environment, my regular customers at my shop, they ask the questions still because we've taught them to ask, and we encourage them to ask.
Well, you know what?
But
you
we
want
have a
them to know what
relationship.
value they're getting. So you want it to be explained to them. You don't want them just to say, "Hey, I whipped out my wallet for $300. What did I get for it?" You know. So we want to present it in a way so you understand, but also we want you to ask questions so that you can draw out of us what's important. So 602-277-5827. 602-277-KTAR. We are going to go with Tony in Avondale. Looks like he's got a 2007 Mazda. Go ahead, Tony. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Thanks for taking my call, guys. I got a job to where during the summer I have no time off, no time to drive this nice car that I got. And I'm wondering on this maintenance stuff, if I'm not driving the thing, it's just sitting in my garage for 3 or 4 months at a time, and I might drive it once a month on a Sunday because I work in the HVAC industry, and I only get to drive it during the winter times when I got time off. What do I need to do to really keep that thing in my, I'm not changing the oil, every 3 months or anything like that because it might take me 5 months to drive 3,000 miles for this car.
Sure, Tony. What I would do on that, one of the first things is make sure you're getting some good quality fuel in the car and put in a fuel additive that is a stabilizer. I know BG Products make some stuff, Stabil, and there's probably some stuff that you can get at, your Napa or AutoZone, O'Reilly, whatever. But most cars, we get this question kind of in this form a lot at my shop because we have some older folks or widows or widowers, and they don't drive a lot. So we tell them we want to see your car every 6 months. No matter what. And then there's certain fluids. There are fluids that will deteriorate with age and some that can just sit there forever. Like, for example, transmission fluid, Dave. It's probably pretty good sitting there. It's not a big deal. However, engine coolant, that will turn to acid and can actually go bad just by sitting there. So, but you're driving the car, even though you don't drive it for 3 months.
Right.
It still gets pretty regular use. So I don't think there's anything too much that you need to do special when you're not driving the car other than make sure it's got good fuel in it.
Yeah, I think the fuel's the big issue there, and things like the coolant. So in the car in 3 years, it doesn't have that many miles on it. Hey, we still want to service that coolant because it has maybe made the turn to acidity. And you can actually, do you guys use test strips where you check that?
Yeah, we can test with a refractometer if it's what the freeze level is. We have dip strips where we can test the acid level. You can check it with a voltmeter. But then brake fluid. Brake fluid is another one that you won't see that in German cars. You'll see brake fluid prescribed every 2 years. Some American cars, you get into a higher-end car like a Vet or a sports car, they're going to prescribe a brake fluid change. But on most cars, it's not there. There's nothing talked about it. But in the industry, we know we need to change that, and we actually have a test that we can do, an objective test, not just, you need some brake fluid because it's time.
It's on the menu at the car wash.
Yeah.
602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. Thanks, Tony, for the call. We're going to go with Mike in Mesa quickly on a 2013 Camaro. Go ahead, Mike. How can we help you today?
Gentlemen, it's right in line with your subject today. I wanted to change the oil in my 6-speed manual and the differential. And the Chevy owner's manual just talks about GM manual transmission fluid, part number, blah, blah, blah. And the same thing for the differential. I've had real good luck with Mobil 1 synthetic over the years, and I was wondering if you guys knew if it was the equivalent. I can give you the numbers of the fluid. They don't give you a name anymore, just a number.
I wouldn't know the equivalency, the fluids off the top of my head, but I bet if you went to the Mobil website, Mobil 1, and they probably have a performance package, I would bet, for that car where it's got the engine oil. I'm just assuming. Now, if you go to, I like Redline oil or even Royal Purple, 2 very good oils, as well as Mobil 1. They're not popular names. You don't hear about them. There's not $1 billion of marketing behind them. But if you go to Redline Oil or just search for Redline Oil, you can go there and they'll have a package for your car. It's the differential oil, it's the transmission oil, it's the engine oil, and all the stuff, all the different fluids that are available to help that car perform better, make it last longer. Just there's high-end oils.
You can also send us an email at bumpertobumperradio.com. And what there is among the industry, there's standards. So there's a GL4 standard and a GL5 standard, and there should be some viscosity ratings on that rather than just the GM part number, because that sounds a little too monopolistic. Just the GM part number.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what they're going to advise you to use because they know that's what works best in their car. But there's other fluid manufacturers, again, like Mobil One. GM's not making any oil. I guarantee you they don't have a refinery. So there's other products that will work in the car.
Well, when we come back, we've got wide open lines at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. You can also text us at 411-923. You are listening to Dave and Matt, your KTAR car guys, on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and Bumper to Bumper Radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE MasterTechs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Dave.
We're the car guys from the Bumper to Bumper Radio Show, heard right here on News Talk 92.3 KTAR every Saturday from 11 to noon.
Bumper to Bumper Radio, it's just like your favorite warm and comfy blanket for all your automotive needs.
Yeah, I guess you're right, Dave. And we're here not just on Saturdays, but 24/7 at bumpertobumperradio.com for all the very best repair and service shops in Phoenix.
Yep, right advice, products, and partners are all at bumpertobumperradio.com.
After 14 years in the States, mostly spent here in the Valley, I was getting bloody frustrated with the treatment I was receiving from dealerships on the maintenance and repairs of my vehicles. I finally reached out to a friend who told me I was crazy not to try Virginia Auto Service. Being a mom with a busy schedule, children, and work, I took my friend's advice and gave Virginia a try. What a refreshing difference. From the first step through their doors, their staff was accommodating and understanding. Robert explained in plain English what I needed to have done, but also why. They went out of their way to make sure that the experience was convenient, with door-to-door shuttle service by a lovely man named Bergie. Several years and a number of visits later, the experience is always the same. They tell me what is necessary right now and what is not. This is Victoria, and I don't know much about cars, but I do know that from boot to bonnet, Virginia Auto Service knows how to take care of their customers. Check them out online at virginiaautoservice.com.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
Hi, this is Greg LaFonsi of Automotive Diagnostic Specialties. Long name, right? But we have a short, simple goal. Customer satisfaction is our number one priority, and everything else takes care of itself. Bumper to Bumper Radio approved. ADS is a family-owned and operated state-of-the-art repair facility that has an expert staff that for the second straight year has earned the coveted AAA Top Shop Award as one of the best shops in the nation. Just east of I-10 on Chandler Boulevard. Find us at automotiveddiagnosticspecialties.com.
In life, there are certain relationships outside of family and friends that are important. For instance, if your car breaks down, you want to have a relationship with an auto repair shop that you trust to repair your car. The same goes for your doctor, your accountant, and your attorney. Why? Because the services they provide involve health and financial decisions, and it's important to hire a trusted professional. This same principle applies to real estate. Hi, I'm Lisa Henry with Russ Lyon Sotheby's International Realty. For most of us, our home is the largest financial commitment and asset we will own in our lifetime. So when you decide to sell, it's important to hire a professional, knowledgeable real estate agent that you can trust to represent your interests and provide the best customer service available. If you would like a consultation to help determine the value and discuss a comprehensive marketing plan to sell your home, please visit my website at lisareneehenry.com. That's Lisa Renee, R-E-N-E-E, Henry.com. Come experience the difference a great real estate agent can make.
This must be your music, Dave.
How can you tell?
I know I didn't, because the way you're over there beating your head against your little buck-toothed little stand-up dancer in front of the microphone. But well, that's the good thing. That's why we're on radio, so nobody can see us. But
see what we're doing?
I'm Matt Allen. He's Dave Riccio, and every Saturday at 11 we are Bumper to Bumper Radio, here to help you with your car. So if you've got car questions, any car problems, maybe you're thinking about buying a car, selling a car, how to handle questions at the service counter, or even maybe where do I go to get my car fixed, you can always find that answer at bumpertobumperradio.com. And if you have a question that we can help you with, 602-277-5827. It's 602-277-KTAR. And if you want to text, you can do that at 411-923. Just don't do it while you're driving.
Don't text and drive. Well, we've got Eric and Diana on the line, but I want to address a couple of these texts. This one here is on topic. Are things such as CV joints, power steering pumps, and other stuff part of regular maintenance? That's part of the inspection piece. So when we're doing your regular maintenance, changing your oil and changing your transmission fluid and all those other things that are pre-prescribed, sort of the mileage thing. And then we're going to look at those CV joints or CV boots. I don't hardly see CV boots go bad like I used to in the old days.
Well, they're much better boots. They're probably not rubber anymore. They're probably some type of neoprene and some
polypropylene,
something that I can't pronounce, kind of material that they just last longer. They're just better. You asked about the CV boot. That's going to be, we're going to find that during an inspection, but that's typically not something that you're going to ever have to mess with as a preventative measure.
Not until it's broken or it's a problem or it's leaking.
Now, power steering fluid, on the other hand, I think the power steering flushing and that stuff came out in the 80s when General Motors had cars. They used to call it morning sickness. The rack and pinion steering would, in the morning, it's hard to turn. Ford products, you can take a brand new Ford these days and they still make noisy power steering. So periodically, that fluid does need to be changed. I mean, the power steering fluid on cars now, sometimes it's running not only the power steering, the cooling fan could be run hydraulically by the power steering. Your power brake assist is coming from that. It could be if you have a car with active suspension. A lot of the Mercedes and BMW are using the same hydraulic oil in the power steering to control the suspension. And that fluid, just like motor oil, it does break down, and that does periodically need to be serviced. So there is nothing wrong with having a power steering system flush done every 30,000 miles, maybe every 36,000 miles, something like that.
But you're not going to go in and just get a brand new power steering pump just because. Not necessarily.
No, yeah.
That's the way I'm reading the text. So the maintenance of the fluid is the maintenance, but not necessarily just replacement of the pump. If we see the pump leaking, well, it may be something we want to reseal. But maintaining the fluid is really the only preventative maintenance for the power steering. If there is a leak or something visually or a functionality issue, well, now we're going to talk about replacing the power steering pump or rebuilding the power steering pump.
And those flushes, though, by the way, when you have good fluid, it's just like changing oil. We see cars where people don't take care of the oil properly. Those are the cars that have leaky valve cover gaskets. The crankcase ventilation systems aren't working right. Same thing on power steering. The cars, not always, but the cars that have rack and pinions that are leaking and hoses and lines, they always have nasty fluid that has not been taken care of.
Well, let's go with Eric in Glendale on a 2008 Acura GL. Go ahead, Eric. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio. What can we help you with?
Hi, and it's a TL Type S. She wasn't following me, I guess. But I was calling because the car is a 6-speed manual, and we've had the clutch replaced in it twice, and I know that Honda has the dual-mast clutch or whatever it is that's supposed to make it easier to switch, and I'm wondering if there's a different type of clutch that you can replace in the car instead of having to continuously spend $2,300 or whatever it is for the clutch job.
Wow. Well, somebody's got a rough clutch foot.
I'm trying to explain to my wife that she doesn't need to actually hold the clutch in while she's sitting at stoplights and things like that, but she's,
Yes, some of that can definitely help, but, you're referring to a dual mass flywheel, I think is what he's referring to. So the flywheels traditionally were one piece and is bolted right to the crankshaft of the engine, and then the clutch disc and pressure plate bolted to that. Well, they came up with dual mass flywheels, and that's a flywheel where the surface is mounted really on springs or a damper.
You missed some of the clutch disc has springs in it, so that when you take your foot off the clutch, you don't just get this locked engagement. The springs have to absorb some of that. So they've gone away from the springs in the clutch to the dual mass flywheel.
Dual mass flywheel in lieu of that, but it shouldn't. I mean, a clutch generally, I'll see them go 100,000 miles. I don't see them getting replaced every 30 or 50,000 miles. Now, I do see someone go buy a new car and they give their teenager, the keys and let him drive it around, and the clutch be bad after 30,000 miles. I've seen that happening.
That happens. But back to I think the root of the question was, is there a way to get away from that dual mass flywheel setup? And in a lot of cases there are. I know there is in Porsches, BMWs, Audis. We do them occasionally. Get rid of that flywheel. Everything still works the same. It's a new style flywheel with the old style spring-loaded or spring-dampened clutch disc. It's just whether or not there's enough of demand for them for that particular Acura. But I bet you'd be able to find one.
Yeah, and the later the model. And there's so much aftermarket performance stuff for Hondas. I mean, there's a lot of Honda junkies out there that like to do that. Thanks for the call, Eric. We're going to go with Diane in Glendale on a 1989 Nissan Maxima SE. Go ahead, Diane. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, hi, guys. As you mentioned, I've got an 89 Nissan Maxima SE with 115,000 miles, original miles. I'm the second owner. Here's my question. I have taken extremely good care of it. One shop has maintained it. Had the the suspension rebuilt, front end, brand new tires. I knew the transmission was next to go, and it has gone. If you were me, I was quoted $2,500 to $4,000 to repair that transmission. It's an 89. What would you do with it if you were me?
Get that question all the time. Dave, you can talk about the transmission price, and it's one of those things. If you have to go buy a new car, here's how I explain it to my customers. This car that you could sell is worth $1,500 if it needs a transmission. Maybe not even that. Who knows? If you're going to spend, let's just assume $4,000 on the transmission. So if you take the $1,000 you could sell your car for, and you take the $4,000 you're going to put into the transmission, now you've got $5,000. What can you go buy for $5,000? Can you buy a car as nice as your 89 Maxima? You bet. You can get a newer car. Maybe it's not as nice. It won't have a new transmission. It won't be immaculately taken care of.
Taken care of. I like how she said it's been taken care of by one shop. That's pretty unusual, but I think it's the right way to go to get these cars to last. It's like seeing your doctor. You wouldn't pick a different pediatrician for your kid every time you go. You would want somebody who knows your kid, kind of knows what they recommended last time, what kind of things going on there. So that's a personal choice. If you still like the car, do you feel good in it? Do you feel safe in it? Do you like driving it? Do you think you look good in it? I keep the car if I look good in it. That's the main thing.
Tough to find one of those for you, Dave. Huh?
Got to do a lot of work there. But, it's not unusual for somebody to spend $2,500 getting a front-wheel drive transmission. That's not unheard of. So that sounds reasonable for sure. But you have to pencil it out at TriCityTransmission.com. Right on our homepage, in the bottom right, there's a repair or replace calculator. And that calculator helps you answer those questions that you're asking. It's going to go down all the items. How are the tires? How are the brakes? What are all the expenses? And you can look at cost per mile. What does it cost you to keep this car versus replace this car? And that's a good tool. And if at the end of the day you like the car, fix the car. If you don't, if you're ready for something else, go get something else.
And the other thing we talked about is ask questions. And I have a couple questions. If it's not, if the shop is not at the, if the car's not at the shop that is always taking care of it, and you just happen to go to a random transmission shop because you thought you had a transmission shop and you're away from your car repair home, I would go back to your car repair home and talk to those guys. Dave, I don't know what you think about the 2,500 to 4,000 window.
I don't know why the range was so big. You should be able to get a pretty concrete price before you get into it. And there's some old scams out there in the transmission business where they say, hey, we got to pull it apart to see what's wrong with it. No, you don't. Have you never worked on a transmission before? They should be able to pretty much nail it down. Hey, this is what we're going to look at, or these 3 scenarios, and this is why. That type of thing. So it shouldn't be guesswork as far as what the price is.
The other question that I have for the shop, and it's we always talk about ask questions to the service advisor, and I want to know. Now, Diane, it sounds like you know the car's in good shape, but a lot of people don't know the condition of their car. So the other thing, when you have a big purchase, what else is wrong with my car? Because we see people, they want to get this big sale or even a little sale. I'm not going to tell them about the other $2,000 of the work it needs because I want to get $500 today. Make sure it doesn't have a water pump that's leaking or belts that are about to fly off the car and worn out tires or bad brakes. You want to make sure that you know what you're making your investment in. Don't find out later, oh, by the way, we put your $4,000 transmission in and you need X, Y, and Z. It may have changed your mind.
It's not an unusual question at the transmission shop. Someone's looking at transmission repair. They say, how's the rest of the vehicle? I say, hey, let's do a comprehensive vehicle analysis before we go spending the money on the transmission so you know exactly where you're at. Diane, thanks so much for the call. We are going to go with Dan in Chandler on a 1996 Toyota 4Runner. Go ahead, Dan. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, good morning. I appreciate you taking my call. I gleaned a lot of information from the folks that have been calling prior. I have that 1996. It's got almost 230,000 miles on it. And people see it and they're just shocked. But it runs great, and I think it could last longer. Now, I was going to, like I said, I gleaned a lot of information from the folks you had previously as far as getting the fluids changed. I'm going to get a major tune-up done on it, and I'm also thinking about doing the timing belt, because I think it was last done at like 180, I want to say, something in that neighborhood. But again, anything else you'd recommend? I know the fluids now from listening to your callers, so anything else that you might recommend? This thing runs great. I just would love to get another 50, 60,000 miles out of it.
The fluids, you can always stay up to date on the fluids. That's going to be a great thing to do. The other thing that is a car killer is going to be, timing belts, which you already mentioned, but overheating. How old is that radiator? How old are those hoses? Have they been changed out? I call those car killers. Those are the things that keep cars from making it at 200,000-300,000 miles.
Well, a perfect example on that 96 4Runner with 200 and whatever thousand miles. I mean, hopefully you can go click your heels and jump up and, for the Toyota commercial at 300,000. But when you do the timing belt, you don't want to do just the timing belt. You want the timing belt. You're going to do the water pump. The thermostat's right there staring in the face when you do that. Do that. Do the other tensioners and idlers. 260,000. I'd probably do the cam and the crankshaft seal. It's another $100 while you're in there. Now, at my shop, we take the radiator out of the car. It's just a lot easier. We do it for our convenience. If I was riding around in a car that had the original radiator, which I doubt that you do, it's possible, but I doubt it. But if you had a radiator with in excess of 150,000 miles or 10 years old, and you really rely on your car, you need it to go out of town, I would maybe consider putting a radiator in it. But that's where you have to have the conversation with the service advisor and be at a good shop.
When we come back, we've got Jim, Christopher, and Stella and a couple texts. You're listening to Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Are you looking for a refreshing change in customer service? I'm Lee Weatherby from Accurate Automotive. How about a refreshing change in your car repair relationship with honest, clear, and responsive service that looks out for your needs and not ours? For over 20 years, we've been delivering award-winning service provided by ASE-certified technicians with one goal, looking out for your best interest. If it needs fixing, we'll tell you. If it doesn't, you'll know that too. I guarantee that you will not get that business-as-usual treatment at Accurate Automotive. Foreign and domestic, cars, trucks, and even fleet service, Accurate can handle your job. I invite you to come in and experience a refreshing difference in car repair and maintenance. Stop by for a free courtesy inspection, a $49 value. We feel it is well worth our investment in you because we know that good long-term relationships start early with your first walk through our doors. I'm Lee Weatherby, and I'll be there to greet you. Accurate Automotive, home of friends serving friends, just off Broadway and Robeson in Mesa since 1992. For more information, check us out at AccurateAutomotiveAZ.com today.
Hi, Jerry Colangelo here. Want to play some historic golf? Swing by the Arizona Biltmore Golf Club, located right next to the Arizona Biltmore Resort. Built in the late 1920s, the Biltmore Golf Club is second to none for prestige, proximity, and privileges. In fact, golf legends, celebrities, and presidents have enjoyed its Adobe and Links courses, offering 36 holes of challenging play. Book a tee time today at azbiltmoregc.com. That's azbiltmoregc.com.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
Well, Matt, I didn't pick that song. Bree just took it upon herself to do it. I like her choices, though.
Say it must have been Dave music.
Welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio. Here alongside me is Matt Allen, and I'm teaching him about cars. It's been a hard process, but we'll get there. So I'm looking at a couple of texts here. This guy's got a 2009, could be a gal, I don't know. I can't decipher that from the text. Pontiac G5 with will a bad fuel filter give off fuel odor? If not, what could be that would give off gas odor? Well, the fuel filter could be bad if it's leaking fuel.
It is bad if it's leaking fuel.
Could be.
No, it is.
Okay. But if it's not leaking, it's not going to give off an odor. So if I was looking at it, I would visually be looking for active leaks or stain from fuel, running off the side of the gas tank. We had a car in our shop just this last week for a transmission service, and we noticed that the whole side of the gas tank was wet. And what it was one of the little nipples on the fuel pump was leaking, just squirting out. So you're going to have you can also lose fuel vapor. So there's basically a charcoal canister system or evaporative system to capture the vapor that evaporates off the top of the tank, the fuel in the top of the tank, and that may not be working. So if we have a vapor leak, we're going to do a smoke test. We're going to, basically smoke a cigarette and blow it.
Yeah, right.
Blow it into the filler hole.
Take a lighter and look down inside that filler neck, see if you see anything.
That's the way we used to do it before they had the fancy machines.
And there's all kinds of places where you can get that fuel odor from. There's 4 or 5 probably penetrations or different spots in the top of that fuel tank. The fuel pump housing can crack. There's a number of different things up there that could give you a problem. So again, like Dave said, look for raw fuel, liquid fuel first, and if you don't see that, look for vapors. And then to help give good information for your shop when you take it in, try and pay attention. Does it happen when you go out in the morning? Is it really strong? Do you notice it after you fill the tank? Is it a stronger odor, or what happens? And that will help us potentially find the problem and save you some money.
In a lot of cases, if you do have a vapor leak, you're going to get a check engine light for that. There will be a code for an evaporative system leak, either large or small. So thanks so much for the text. We are going to go with Christopher in Tempe on a 2003 Chevrolet Cavalier. Go ahead, Christopher. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
Okay, yeah, I have a quick question. I have the 03 Cavalier, like you said. My AC compressor went out, so me and a buddy changed it. I went and got a remanufactured compressor, and we installed it with we put there's another part we changed too.
Probably a dryer or an orifice tube.
Yeah, the orifice tube and condenser. Yeah, we changed that all out. Well, it went smooth. Everything works now. But the thing is, my track off light and my check engine light went off. And now when I drive, the car shifts really hard. Like when I put it in reverse, drive, when it shifts, I can feel it shift really hard.
Okay. I get the feeling the two aren't related. So one is an AC repair. The other one is a traction control issue or speed sensors.
Well, the only way that I'm thinking they're similar, there are two different issues. But if you're in there digging around, replacing a condenser, replacing a dryer, putting a compressor in, there's a better than even chance that you potentially knocked off a wire or broke a connector or did something. So I'd first be retracing your
looking around everything there.
Yeah.
To see what's going on. Man, you are listening.
I'm paying attention. I've learned well from you, Dave. You've taught me so much. I just can't thank you enough. I mean, I don't know where I'd be without you.
So retrace your steps and see if you can find something obvious that got knocked loose or bumped loose. But they could be separate items as far as one's the AC system. The other one, if I was looking at it, I would go scan the traction control module to see what's loose, and it's going to tell you, hey, we got a problem with the right wheel sensor or the left sensor or something going on. So thanks so much for the call. We are going to go with Stella in Phoenix on an 02 Honda Accord. Go ahead, Stella. You're on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. My daughter has a 2002 Honda Accord, and she's taken excellent care of it, but had a few problems, and she's been going to this automotive dealer for a long time. Anyway, she got in it the other day, and it went to turn the key on, it click, click, and they told her that they had to put a new starter in it. And they're charging her a little over $400. Is that... I felt that was too much money.
Well, it is a lot for a starter. I've been making some estimates lately, and I get shocked sometimes. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's expensive. We're not talking about our 1982 Pontiac where you can pick up a starter for $89.95, and a 2002 Honda, depending on if it's a 4-cylinder or V6, there's going to be a fair amount of labor there. And Honda starters really don't go bad very often. They're a good starter, and they cost money to replace. So I don't think $400 is out of line at all. Dave?
No, it doesn't sound terribly out of line. It could be on the higher end of the scale. There are some pricing tools online available that people can look at, and they'll give you a range. So they'll say, hey, I'm looking at a starter for this Honda, and it may say $300 to $450, something like that. That should be in there. And it may be there's difference in components. You can buy a cheap starter. I could call up and get a price on a starter, and I could get a price range, that's really $100 difference between good and crummy.
Right.
It's like I can buy brake pads for $9 or I can buy them for $50, but they're not the same brake pads. So the quality of the component matters. And sometimes, and I don't really say this because I wouldn't, but people say, wow, that seems so expensive, So, well, I do have a cheaper, less experienced technician that I can put you on his car. He bills at a different labor rate. So, and I say that as a joke because that is also something, the quality of the shop and the quality of the person working on the car and the quality of the parts you're getting, and then also warranty is an issue. How long is the component warranted for?
Well, and Stella said one other thing, too, is her daughter has been going to this shop for a long time. It sounds to me like there's a relationship there. Maybe Stella's daughter's not so worried about the $400. Maybe it's Stella that doesn't know what the price is. But if you have that relationship, you should be able to go out to go and ask them, hey, that seems pricey. Why is that?
Get some explanation.
Because people will say that, gosh, that's expensive. And I say, compared to what? Well, I don't know. Compared to my, I had a Buick one time and I had the starter go out on it. So why is it so much more in my Honda? They're just different.
Well, we were talking about maintenance today. Is it the same? Does it cost you the same to service a Ford Focus as it does to service a Mercedes? What's your gut, Matt?
Well, sometimes. That's what people think. You're going to go buy this lesser expensive car, maybe an entry-level car, your Fiat or your Ford Focus. The Ford Focus has that EcoBoost technology in it. That's as high-tech as any Mercedes-Benz that you're going to find. So just because you have a lesser expensive car, you don't think you're not driving a high-line, high-end car. The technology does not discriminate. The technology is all across the lines. So that F-150 or that Mercedes or that Ford Focus, you'd be surprised that some of the maintenance that is similar, I can't even say it, is expensive, and some of them is not. It just varies. It's all over the board. Don't think that your car is going to determine the cost.
Well, thanks for joining us. You can find us online at bumpertobumperradio.com. While you're there, be sure to like us on Facebook. Thanks, Bree, for running the dials. Remember not to text and drive. We'll see you next week.
It's really coming down now, and that little voice is saying shoulda, coulda, woulda. You meant to call Kaiko Roofing last storm, but you didn't, did you? Now it's raining cats and dogs, and Mr. Shoulda, coulda, woulda is watching a puddle form on the ceiling. If the roof on your home or business is over 10 years old, get rid of shoulda, coulda, woulda. Call Kaiko Roofing at 602-944-4600 for a free checkup today. At Kaiko, we install peace of mind with the finest materials and the most skilled workers, all backed by the owner's pride guarantee. Flat, foam, tile, or shingle, Kaiko handles them all. From a small leak to a complete new roof, Kaiko has you covered. Since 1994, Kaiko has repaired or replaced tens of thousands of valley roofs. Over 50% of our business coming from referrals or repeat customers. In fact, over 98% of our customers say they would refer us to a friend. For more information and financing options, go to KaikoRoofing.com. Kaiko Roofing. We're crazy about quality.
Hi, Jerry Colangelo here with 3 reasons to tee up a legendary golf outing. The Gold, the Patriot, and the Heritage. 3 championship courses all located at the Wigwam Resort. And why wouldn't you want to play somewhere Golf Week named as one of 2012's best courses? And it's home to world-class golf instruction by The Plain Truth, founded by renowned top 10 instructor Jim Hardy. Tee up a round or a lesson today. Visit wigwamgolf.com. That's wigwamgolf.com.
Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Dave.
We're the car guys from the Bumper to Bumper radio show, heard right here on News Talk 92.3 KTAR every Saturday from 11 to noon.
Bumper to Bumper radio, it's just like your favorite warm and comfy blanket for all your automotive needs.
Yeah, I guess you're right, Dave. And we're here not just on Saturdays, but 24/7 at bumpertobumperradio.com for all the very best repair and service shops in Phoenix.
Yep, right advice, products, and partners are all at bumpertobumperradio.com.